Happy Halloween, everyone. You guys already know what movie we're reviewing. The original Halloween. It has been a fat minute since I reviewed the original Halloween, and I think it's time that we re-review it. Because I reviewed it back in, 2019? Yeah, it's been that long. It's kind of insane. So, I think it's time we re-review this movie since I pretty much covered all the Halloween movies, which is kind of insane that I've covered all of them. So, I think we're just kind of backtracking at this point. We're kind of going, back. It'll be only a matter of time before I recover all the movies. But in terms of that, or, in terms of here, Halloween. So if you guys aren't familiar with this movie, then you guys are living under a rock. What the hell are you doing? Everyone knows this movie. And I'm going to be honest, it's going to be kind of hard to talk about this movie since I feel like everyone already knows all there is about it. But then again, these reviews aren't scripted, so I feel like it doesn't matter what I say. This is just going to be me blabbering. So, Halloween, it's a classic. It was directed by John Carpenter and his wife, and they made this movie back in 1978, but you guys already knew that. It was going to be originally called The Babysitter Murders, but then they changed it to Halloween because they're like, that's more marketable. Well, oh my God, this is literally a household name. Anytime you say, oh yeah, the Halloween franchise, there's only one Halloween franchise. Michael Myers is so iconic. And this movie, this is the best Michael Myers ever. The only other Michael Myers that I can think, I could say is maybe a little better. And in terms of the portrayal is James Jude Courtney in the new Halloween trilogy. He does such an amazing job. But in this movie, Nick Castle does a great job. He does an amazing job as Michael Myers. This movie, if you guys don't know this movie, it is about Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode. She is the babysitter, and she's babysitting these kids on Halloween. But the night before, Michael Myers, an escaped, mental patient, gets loose, and he starts killing, the teenagers around Haddonfield on Halloween night. It wasn't until the sequels where they made Michael Myers this, brother, sister killing mass murderer. So it's whatever. It's whatever. I never really cared for the brother-sister subplot, but that was only introduced in Halloween 2, so we're solely going off this movie. And what I like about this movie, and just to clarify, this is my all-time favorite horror movie. This is in my top 10 movies of all time. This is my favorite horror movie, and every time I tell that, they're like, really? Halloween? I mean, it's a classic, but why? And I always say the same thing. It's because of its simplicity. I feel like a lot of horror movies nowadays try to be over convoluted or complicated or try to break new grounds. I mean, you watch a movie like The Lighthouse, and I feel like, it's trying to say so much, but there's just something scary about a masked lunatic killing people. But the way it's done, because it's not like this is the first movie that's done the slasher trope before. This was the movie that definitely, started the whole slasher trend, even though there were slasher movies before this one. This is just the one that, made it popular, made it mainstream. This movie, in my opinion, does it the best, and how it chooses to tell that, slasher perspective. You get you actually get moments where you follow Michael Myers, and he's not just killing people the entire film. There's only 5 kills in the movie, and one of them is off screen, so 4 kills, and even then they're not graphic or bloody like you think they would be in a slasher, because slashers, when you think of slashers, are killer, mass killer, creative, bloody, graphic kills. This movie doesn't have that. Yeah, there's a few good kills in here, everyone knows the scene where Michael's wearing the ghost costume and he's strangling, I forget her name, but it's not Linda, is it? I'm awful with names, so forgive me, but, the scene where Michael strangles her with the ghost costume and she's nude and she's, showing her boobs. Everyone knows that scene. Even though there's no blood, you know that scene because it's so iconic. Same where he stabs Bob on the wall and he does the famous head tilt. It's everyone knows that scene, but it's not graphic or bloody. this movie, in my opinion, is iconic for a reason. And yeah, while it's a classic, it is a classic for a reason. This movie works in its simplicity. I don't think it would have worked if it tried to be something that this movie, wasn't. Like if it tried to have a meaning behind it, but it's not. It literally just shows you Michael Myers is pure evil. Laurie Strode is obviously, the representation of good. Dr. Loomis as well, and they're trying to stop him. And as a Christian, I really like that. I love the themes and the elements that it portrays. And I had a discussion about this with my friend. And while, yes, it's, like I said, it's simplistic, it doesn't really explore the themes to its full potential. I feel like that's where I like the new Halloween trilogy, because they explore the themes that this movie sets up in more detail. But just because it doesn't reach its full potential doesn't mean it isn't there. What I'm trying to say is, the infamous scene where Loomis talks about, he has the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. You feel the fear in him. You see the horror in his eyes, the same way he sees the darkness in Michael's eyes. And you're like, they don't really go further into it. Like, he describes Michael, as having the blackest eyes. We don't really see that much in this movie. It's not until the later films we see that, but you can I feel like if you were to show this movie to anyone, you would get many different reactions. And that's the beauty of this movie, and why I think it works so well, because it is genuinely horrifying. One of the things I think really works about this movie is the fact that I think it's just about a killer killing people at random. He has no motivation. He just wants to kill because that's what he likes doing. And something about that's scary. There's something scary about, I don't know, just everyone says they're not afraid of the dark. But then when you're actually in a dark room by yourself, don't you get a little unsettled? There's moments like that in this movie, especially the ending, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen this movie somehow, but there's a part at the end where you see a montage of all the locations Michael Myers has been. And I love that moment, and it's so scary because you're thinking, Michael could be anywhere. And then it hits you. Anyone could be Michael Myers, which is the main reason I like Ends so much, because I've had arguments with my friends about this and why I think Halloween Ends is such a good movie, but not to, get off track with that movie. That's what I'm saying. All those sequels came from this movie. That's what I'm saying. You could show this movie to anyone and you would get a different reaction completely. Because look at how many sequels we've got, especially the new David Gordon Green trilogy. They explore the themes this movie had, but didn't fully go there. But if you were to only watch this movie, you could feel the same way that trilogy, those themes set up. You could be like, oh, okay, I got that from this movie. But it's like, okay, if you want that, then go watch the sequels and they'll explore that idea more. And that's what I think works so well about this movie. On top of the performances, on top of that, the performances are great. The lighting, the mood, the cinematography is great. The score is fucking phenomenal. John Carpenter is a mastermind when it comes to music, and I love the Halloween theme. I'm gonna say something controversial. I think the David Gordon Green trilogy has better scores than this movie, but that does not mean that I think these are bad in any regard. I'm just saying that those movies, I think, took an already perfect score and, made it their own. And John Carpenter, he's a fucking mastermind. He's a mastermind. That's what I'm trying to say. I think what I would rather listen to is the 2018 Halloween theme rather compared to the original Halloween theme, because it's so simplistic, but it works so damn well. There is a reason why I like that trilogy, because of what this movie sets up. This movie is my favorite horror movie because of how simple it is, how creepy it is in its simplicity, how phenomenally eerie it is in its simplicity. It is such a simple-ass concept about a killer killing people, and it works so well. It works so well. When Loomis shoots Michael and he gets up again, you see the fear and panic in his eyes, almost the same way he sees the darkness in Michael's eyes. I already said that, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's a fair point. This movie works so well for me. It's my favorite horror movie, and it's my favorite Halloween movie to watch every Halloween. So guys, I'm gonna give it an A+. I mean, was there any competition? Was there any, other grade I could give this movie? Well, unless you're one of those people who just loves Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which, if you are that person, good for you, but you're wrong. Anyways, guys, that was Halloween month. I hope you enjoyed all these reviews. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. Christmas is going to come around, but we got to get through Thanksgiving first, so be patient, I promise. But Jack, I think it's time to go. I'll see you guys next year. Well, he'll see you next year. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.